Goodness, I'm just going to give everybody a minute to get over here because it took me about 1,000 minutes to get over here. I get so frustrated with technology. I'm ready to give up. Actually, I'm way past ready to give up. I'm ready to scream and cry. I need help. I need a lot of psychological help. This is killing me. Hey, Bex. I am so freaking tired of it, but I love doing this so much that I'm going to just stick with it. So, thank you so much for being the first one to be here. We are all having a tough morning. Oh, John Cross. Hey, it's been so long. Hey, Sherry. Are you saying that, Bex, because of the arrests from overnight? Oh, man. Grizzly, grizzly, grizzly. Not so dumb, blonde. So nice to see you. Let me finish my coffee. I'm sure that's part of the problem because it's 12:38 and I'm behind schedule. So I've got this kind of weird shirt on. Let me explain it to you because it might look kind of funny as I'm talking and you're like, "What?" So it's bizarre how some stuff just doesn't translate well to the video, and I didn't want to put on the shirt that I have over it because then I'll get too hot. And I'm already freaking hot-headed. So let's just get started. Let's just chill out. No, my daughter and I have been sick. Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that, Bex. Is it the Arona or is it other crud going around? I apologize for you for having to deal with that. Being sick sucks. So I keep trying to go simpler on my set here because I just, less is more. And then I'm like, okay, just one little candle. Okay, just one little kitty cat. Okay, just one little squirrel. Where's the mouse? You can't even see the mouse. I'm gonna have to reposition myself. I want you to see the mouse and the pumpkin. I had to fight so hard to get everybody in. Not that you guys aren't more important than the inanimate objects, right? So I have a lot I want to talk about, and I am really self-conscious that people are going to be right now when they start calling me a crazy conspiracy theorist because I'm telling you, I had some wild freaking ideas this morning. I think I wrote most of them down, so I'll remember what it was that I wanted to share. Part of me doesn't even want to share because you know how people are on the internet. They're so rude. These are just ideas, people. I'm not saying that I think I'm right. I'm just saying, what if, okay? I got some theories that are just like crazy, mostly related to Idaho 4, but could be related to anything. So let me do my thing with please subscribe and share and turn on your notification bell if you like. Hit that like button. I'm going to try just to focus and keep it as simple as possible because there's so much chaos in the world and so much chaos in my set and so much chaos in my brain. So I've got my trusty notebook. I even have a pen. I have my mic on. I think my lighting is doing all right. I think we got this. So, Annie Ruler and Parker 87. And Beck says, I'm glad the arrests were made, though. Absolutely. So, this is what really got my brain going. And I couldn't go to bed last night until seeing the arrest, seeing the perp walk, seeing the presser. These Texas Rangers, man, they know how to play. They don't play. They know how to do this. They do their presser at, what was it, like 10 o'clock at night for them? And that's the way to kick some butt. Yeah, you're first responders, like 24/7. It doesn't really matter what time of the day it is. You don't schedule this stuff. It happens when it happens. So I'm so grateful, so freaking grateful. And, the night before last, I was on Zav Girls Live. I put a link to it in my description of my video from yesterday. And I said out loud on the panel, I said, I wouldn't be surprised if there's an arrest made while we're doing this live and somebody puts it in the chat. And I meant it. I really honestly meant it. I felt like they had everything they needed. They just had to dot their I's and cross their T's. So this is a situation where I can pat myself on the back and go, yay, I was right. But I say it all the time. I don't want to be right about a lot of things that I theorize about. So, like, that was just a theory that I cooked up the night before last, and it panned out last night. What if the people, and I'm not saying they are, I'm totally not saying they are. I don't think this at all. But what if the San Antonio law enforcement knew that the two people that they arrested didn't do it? What if they were pinning it on these two because, the heavyset guy looked enough like the heavyset guy and they had enough uh, to hang it on them, and they just wanted to get the pressure off of themselves to make an arrest, that they were just so ready to do that that they didn't care if they arrested the wrong person. And I know that sounds completely lame. I'm not at all saying that I think that's what happened in Texas with uh, Savannah Soto and her baby daddy and her baby. I don't think that at all. But I do think that that's probably or possibly what has happened in the Idaho 4. We know for a fact that that's what happened in the Dean Gillespie case. We also know for a fact that that's what happened in the Pamela Hupp case. You guys are probably familiar with Pamela Hupp. I've spoken about it a few times. It's a mini series that Renee Zellweger stars in and produced, and it's really astute. It's all about prosecutorial misconduct. So, right now, today, as we sit here on our YouTube chat, in this real life moment, the the DA from prosecuting Russ Faria for his wife's homicide in 2011 in Missouri, I think was the state, that DA is under investigation for prosecutorial misconduct. And there's other officials from that sheriff's department or that police department from that administration, I have it all written down, that are also under investigation and getting charged with fraud, getting charged with all kinds of crap. Um, and yeah, I know I wrote it down, but I don't want to go through all my pages and pages of notes. It's been a lot lately. Um, but I do like to know a little bit what I'm talking about. So Betsy Faria was murdered on December 28th, 2011. Her husband, Russ Faria, it was obvious he didn't do it, but they pinned it on him and they put him in jail for 3 years. And he has since won a $2 million settlement for 3 years of his life lost. Um, Pam Hupp is now facing the charges for the unaliving of her best friend at the time, for Betsy. Here we are, 12, 13 years later. So Pam Hupp was arrested for a different homicide. She's serving a life sentence, and now she's being charged with the best friend. So this is very relevant, you guys, in the Idaho 4 case. I don't think it's relevant at all in San Antonio, and thank goodness, right? I mean, why on earth would anybody want to prosecute someone for something they didn't do and leave a dangerous person out in the general population? So it took 10 years to get charges on Pam Hupp, and the police corruption investigation was announced in 2021. Lincoln County Sheriff's officials, and like I said, I think it's Missouri, um, stalking, harassing, perjury. Three of these people are related, the Markles, Becky Markle, Kevin Markle, and Mike Markle. So I think Kevin Markle was the DEA. They also destroyed evidence, just like in the Dean Gillespie case that was here in Ohio. But let's stay focused on the gratitude that we have for these first responders that do their jobs and do it well and arrest these crazy, dangerous perpetrators. And let me keep up with you guys. I haven't done my disclaimer yet. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to open up an intelligent conversation and to learn something and to interact with you guys. It would be nice if I knew how to do a panel, but like I said, I just try to be grateful for what I can do. This thing wouldn't let me in. That's why I had to keep rescheduling it. There was other stuff too, but it would not let me in. So this is the third stream that I set up this morning, and third time's a charm. I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to yell. I'm just going to finish my disclaimer, which is all my videos to date have been made for YouTube, and it's an entertainment platform. So, yeah, a beautiful thing that these people were arrested, the father and son, 53 years old, the heavyset guy, and then his son, 19 years old. It sounds like, and I haven't watched any of the news the last few hours, I've been too busy. It sounds like the 19-year-old unalived the two of them, and then he called his father on his phone or on a phone, and then his father came to help clean up or hide the evidence or destroy the evidence. The 53-year-old's being charged with abuse of a corpse. So I hope that that doesn't mean anything more than him moving the remains of these beautiful young people. I mean, what a disgusting mess. And, you know, we've all heard that Matthew was tortured and that he may have been partially unclothed. And the abuse of a corpse, I just don't even want to go there. And yet at the same time, if that's what happened, holy crap. I mean, it's already worse than you can imagine, right? And for them to be unalived, I think it was determined that they were unalived on the 21st. Let's see. I know I wrote down the dates. Yeah, before midnight on the 21st, and then they were found the day after Christmas. So for this family to go through Christmas not knowing where their loved ones were, probably knowing but hoping against hope that they were gonna be okay. Did you guys hear that? I don't even know what that was. Sounded like something fell. Anyway, could be some construction or something like that, but maybe the noise cancellation canceled it. Where was my brain? What was I saying? Let me catch up with you guys. Hello, Mark, and thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, we are all so happy that those arrests were made. What a relief. Like, I think it's very rare that we get moments of relief and joy in the true crime community, but what an absolute relief. And happy belated birthday, Michael. So I think when it's your birthday, it's like your birthday all week, even all month if you like. And Brenda, hello, and Mark, hello again. And I don't know how to say this. CNIES Camilo 1. I'll just say that Camilo 1. Annie Ruler, Karen Reed sure feels rotten. Karen Reed. Oh, my brain is just blank. I know that name. If you want to remind me, I've just been like all over the place with all this, you know, problems with the stream and problems with this, that, and the other. Yes, you figured it out, squirrels, and thank you so much for your patience, everybody, putting up with me and my crapola. So yeah, Karen Reed. I can Google it on my phone, but you guys can fill me in. I don't need to distract myself with my phone. You know, because whatever it is I'm focused on, I'm like really focused. It's like that ADHD type of thing. And maybe I've got a strain of that. It wouldn't surprise me in the least. I've always wondered. Brenda, hello. Did I already say hello to you? Michael McAllister says it's the 28th. It's my birthday. And God, that is so messed up. Third time's a charm, hopefully. I mean, who knows? Like, let's not speak too soon. Anything can happen. And if it does, I'll probably try to come right back on, but you never know. I might just say, you know what? I'm throwing in the towel. Screw this noise. That's actually what I titled, sort of what I titled this live. Since it was the third one, I just titled it WTF. Perfect, right? Criteria for promotion needs to change. Showboaters and evidence planting seem to be a result. 100% anti-ruler. Right. Yeah, because they just want to wrap their case up, and evidence planting, even when they have the right suspect and they have good evidence, but they just want to like beef up their case. They just want to ensure it. Like that's not as uncommon as one might think, in my opinion. So, a whistleblower FBI says some of these upper management are promoted quickly from big cases without the hard work of older days, according to him, Kylie Serafina. So I'm going to go back to this comment after I catch up with the rest of them, because that's part of my crazy freaking theory that just flips the whole Idaho 4 thing upside down, sideways, inside out, and backwards. And you guys bear with me. It's not what I think happened, but it's just that it's possible. Mother Teresa, hey Justice, I'm liking the background theme today. Well, I love it. I have so much fun with it. So, I always like to try to get the moon part of the tapestry in, and I like to illuminate things, and I like to have a plant and a thumb and, um, lanterns and trees, and it's not important really. What's important is the content and the fact that you guys are here with me. So thank you. And I did want to show off my jewelry though. I did not make these. These are somebody else's creation, but you got to check them out. Can you see it? Let's see. It's a teeny tiny Christmas tree. Do you see that? It's got a little crystal on the top, and it's just like a bunch of weird findings, um, building a little Christmas tree. And I love them. And I bought them so that I can try to emulate them. I bought them probably like 4 or 5 years ago. I haven't tried to copy them yet, but I will. And when I do, maybe that's something I'll try to make available for giveaways or something. Because I don't like to show you things and then say, oh, but you can't have it. But if you could figure out how to make it. But yeah, anyway, back to the cases. I'm going to go back to that anti-ruler comment, but first catching all up so that I don't fall behind. Distracted squirrel. So, your beautiful background. You look amazing today. Oh, you're too sweet. Thank you. And somebody says there's a ghost. Camilo, is it okay if I just call you Camilo? Because I don't know how you're supposed to say the beginning part of that. Mark says, glad to be here. I think you meant good day, but it's like God tough. Glad to be here. But I never know with you. Your typos might not be typos. Holy B-Day mixa. Okay, Mark, you are just throwing me all the freaking curveballs, and my brain is just fried already. So I'm not even going to try. If you want to explain, you can. I'm back. COVID had me down for a while. Moms AF. And is it Moms AF or is it Mom Ease AF? Anyway, Michael says, reason why I said my birthday is from the unaliving of the lady that the wrong guy went to prison for a few years ago. Thank you, Michael. I'm so glad I caught that. And I would pin it, but I don't want to forget to go back to Annie Rulers. So I'll pin that after I get back to Annie's. Yeah. So that was 12 years ago that it happened. And Pam Hupp still hasn't been charged. And if they hadn't put Russ Faria in prison, wrongfully imprisoned him, if they had focused on Pam, because there were signs pointing to her mother might still be with us, and the young man, the total stranger that she lured and tricked and shot, would also almost definitely be still alive. And the squirrel, I forget which squirrel it was. There were two squirrels that the next door neighbor really liked, and she unalived one of the squirrels. So, Shan, I thought of you. I thought you would take deep issue with that. Um, anyway, catching up, and he says, I dated a guy, ex-wife was federal DA. Said they seal things sometimes with quote unquote evidence, but he said it was for truly guilty perps. Right, but they can't do that. They just can't. It doesn't matter. They still just need to go with the evidence they have. They cannot freaking falsify evidence, because once they do it one time, the integrity is shot and gone. Michael says he was wrongly accused of killing his wife. Yeah, Russ Faria. So check out the Thing About Pam. It's an amazing mini series. I think it's based on a bunch of Dateline episodes. It's still an active case because, like I said, Betsy, or not Betsy's, Betsy Faria is the one who was stabbed like 57 times 3 days after Christmas by her alleged BFF. I mean, come on. Stabbed in the back 57 times. And she didn't do it just to unalive her and collect the insurance money. She also did it to frame the husband so that she could have that insurance money free and clear. So she had gotten Pam Hupp had gotten her friend to change the beneficiary from her husband, who they'd been married for like 8 or 10 years. He was the beneficiary on the policy the whole time. Pam got her to change it 3 or 4 days before she stabbed her in the back, literally. So, okay, so now I'm getting back to this one. A whistleblower FBI says some of these upper management are promoted quickly from big cases without the hard work. Okay, so this is where my crazy brain went this morning, with sort of the joy of the arrests overnight and then trying to put that into the equation of Kylie Rodney's case and the Idaho 4. What if, and I'm not saying that this is what I think, okay? Let's be clear. But what if the criminal defendant and even the guy who was swatted, the other BK, but let's just stick with the criminal defendant right now. What if he was hired by the school or by one of these institutions, maybe even law enforcement, to be a driver, to be a runner, to be somebody that picks up and delivers packages? So you know that there's people that do this for the medical field. So they pick up and deliver biohazardous material. And a lot of times it's in a cooler, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. Um, but they don't ask what's in the container, and they don't look what's in the container. They just do the run, and it's usually middle of the night. So under that cloak of medical, um, you know what I'm saying, under that cloak, sometimes there's things that are not biohazardous, but substances that get transported instead or with. So what if the criminal defendant had a position where he did that and it was a legit job, and he was going to 1122 King or Queen Road that night to pick up a package or to deliver a package, but I'm thinking pick it up. And he picked it up, and then the next day he found out about all this stuff. What if that's why he allegedly went back at 9 or so in the morning to check out what was going on? Because he was just like hearing about it through the grapevine, and he was like, wait, what? I just picked up a package from there a few hours ago. What? And he drove by just because he couldn't figure out what the world was going on. So what if he got ensnared into this crazy operation unwittingly? Or same thing with the other BK. Also, they could have been involved in the the HVAC stuff and or the IT stuff. Both of those guys probably had the skill set for that. It really never occurred to me until this morning, the whole thing with the packages and the biohazard material, because I have thought all along that the BK that was swatted, I've always thought he had nothing to do with anything except maybe inadvertently being instructed to turn the server off, to shut down the server. Was that server actually off for hours between allegedly 11:30 and 6:30 in the morning? I thought it was just like for a short time in that time range, but now it sounds like the server was down the whole night. And was that something that the university or the authorities would do routinely? Is that something that the students were used to, that the server would go down in the middle of the night on Saturday night? Nobody cared because they weren't going to be, doing their homework. And if they needed to, they could go to a hotspot or something like that. My brain has just been spinning. So let me go with Michael's other. I wanted to highlight that about your birthday and Betsy Faria. So is that crazy? Like I said, it's not what I think happened. It's just that it's a possibility. And it would also answer the question of how in the F does the president of a university make over $1 billion profit in his own bank account in 4 years when he's already a billionaire? I don't know. Question. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just asking some questions. Yeah, Mother Teresa, so sad for Savannah Soto and that baby and the whole family. I mean, they already lost her brother about 2 years before that. I tried to look up if these perps were related to, so the Piciatos, I think it's Christopher is the 19-year-old, Ramon is the 53-year-old. They really don't deserve to have their names out there at all. We can call them CP and RP. Um, so Savannah's brother, Ethan, her younger brother, was red rummed almost 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, by someone with allegedly charges are against this guy, Victor Nathaniel Rivas. So Victor Rivas was attacked by, I think, a handful of Savannah's siblings in the court when he had some type of hearing in October. And they were beating the tar out of him before the bailiff intervened. I mean, you can see it on YouTube. You probably already have. Um, I know Zav Girl played it, but you can just Google it and find it pretty easy. I did that last night. So I wonder if the CP and RP, I wonder if they're related to Victor Rivas and that this was retribution, because it's my feeling that any normal unaliver, I mean, even, in the worst criminal mentality, there's still some type of code of ethics, and you certainly don't unalive an unborn baby that's due. I mean, they will get eaten alive in prison, especially the freaking 19-year-old. I mean, unbelievable. If they go to prison, if they're the perps, if there's enough money to charge them, enough money, see my brain, enough evidence to charge them. So, yeah, anyway, let me keep up with you guys. Yeah, so what you said, Annie, about dating a guy who said it was for truly guilty perps, have heard people brag that they have been unalivers, like the assassination type, and that they are clean and that it's okay because they only did that to people who truly deserved it. Like, oh, and you're the judge? Okay. You're the judge, jury, and the executioner and God. Okay, got it. Okay, note to self, steer clear of this individual. Because even if they're not telling the truth, like, come on. Um, yeah, Renee Zellweger is so good in that miniseries, The Thing About Pam. So she's a great actress. I really admire her. And I was very turned off before I saw it by the fact that she wears all this like prosthetic body stuff to make herself look really large because she's such a tiny little thing. I mean, she put on a bunch of weight for one of the Bridget Jones Diary movies, and that was like a news event that Renee Zellweger gained weight. I mean, she's almost anorexic in my humble opinion. But she's a beautiful woman. She's an amazing actress. She was really good in White Oleander. If you haven't seen it, trigger warning. Renee Zellweger in I think it's White Oleander. It's a book and a movie, and it's horrible, but it's very well done. Renee's in it. She's been in a lot of great stuff. A friend of mine told me to watch the miniseries and to not worry about the prosthetics, that it was really neither here nor there. But I'm like, she's such a good actress. Why would she feel like she needs to put that stuff on for this character? Because she can do any character under the sun. And then when I watched the movie, I understood why she wanted it, because this woman is such a despicable, disgusting individual. And I think she just wanted to make her look like the monster that she was, with all this weird, goopy makeup and prosthetics. What a freaking witch that woman is. She's still living. I think she actually tried to unalive herself in police custody with a pen. You guys might know the infamous scene where she's like stabbing her carotid artery with a pen in the bathroom in police custody. At first, I thought she was doing that just to create drama and a distraction. But now I'm thinking she was probably trying to take herself out, even though she's such a narcissist, and usually narcissists won't take themselves out, but they also like to maintain control. They don't want anyone else to be in control of their fate. Um, so yeah, that Renee Zellweger movie is fantastic. And all of the actors and actresses in that miniseries, I said movie, but I meant miniseries, they're all phenomenal. It's very well done. And it's narrated by Keith Morrison from 48 Hours, which is kind of odd. I mean, it's interesting. And I had so much respect for Keith Morrison until he did that last 48 Hours about how Brian Koberger was guilty and what he did the night of the unalivings. And I just lost all respect for him. I was just like, dude, you just threw your entire career away by doing that. BK put many a miles on. That is why I lean with him running the kilos to big guys to cash to Colorado. Finally, yesterday, I learned the city they found him in was where Etsy lives. Drive to Montana. Right, Annie, were you in the live yesterday? I think you were. I'm sorry, it's all a blur. But yeah, Loma, Colorado. And I was going to look into that town some more, because 1,300 people is like the teeniest population imaginable. So for one of them to just happen to own the house that happened in, and to be the same guy that just happens to own the same vehicle that just happened to get in a car accident around the same time. I wanted to look up the date of that car accident, the one up there in Oregon, right outside of Portland. Wasn't it you that was saying yesterday, Eugene? And I agreed with you that, yeah, we were told it was Eugene in the beginning, but if you try to look it up and Google it, you might see it being more in outside of Portland. But that car was registered to Daniel Estes, that the property, and I said 118, 126, and 122 yesterday. I'm sure you guys knew I meant 1118, 1126, and 1122, that Dan Estes owns that property. You guys filled me in that he's a realtor with Blue Bird Realty, And you triggered my memory about the Blue Sky Realty guy calling in the murder of crows at the 1122 residence in August. And I said August of 2023, but I'm sure you guys knew if you caught it that I meant August of 2022. I'm pretty sure that that's the right time frame of when that call was made to law enforcement. Oh my goodness, there's so many crows on this house. You need to come check. So freaking strange. There's so much strange stuff in this whole case. It's so hard to see the forest through the trees. And then all of these content creators that I believe are not really content creators. I believe that they're trolls that have come out onto the streets of YouTube to pose as content creators to try to eliminate this whole platform of sleuths that are real. There's a lot of real sleuths and they're helpful and they're educational. And then by trashing the platform and just being goofballs, they can make all of us look like goofballs and trash this platform that I think has the potential to take out corruption. If that is logical to you, I don't think I need to explain, but I do need to drink a little water and try to keep up with you guys here. Um, You yourself is illuminating. Oh, Mother Teresa, you're so nice. Are you talking about my lighting or my brain? I love it when my brain works. It doesn't always. And I kind of am like all or nothing. Like I'm either rolling with ideas and creativity and intellect, or I'm just brain dead. Not a lot in between. So I just try to, focus on the positive, highlight the positive, and downplay the negative because there's a lot of good to being crazy like that, to being the all or nothing type. I mean, when I focus on something, I focus on something. I'm like a freaking pit bull. You can't take it away from me. I can't let it go. I mean, I'll try. I'll try to just like chill, but sometimes I just can't, no matter what. I'm sure some of you guys are like that too. That's why we all met up here in YouTube land, right? Like attracts like. Um, didn't BK go to an urgent care for something that morning? Thank you, Camilo, for saying that. I think that he went to a pre-existing doctor's appointment. I think it was on Thursday. And this is like from memory from a long time ago, from like over a year ago when it happened after he was arrested. I think that he went to a doctor's appointment that was pre-scheduled, and it was either Tuesday or Thursday after the slaughter, which in my mind, if he did it, he would have canceled that appointment because not only would he maybe have had cuts or bruises on his person, but he also might be afraid of just sitting and talking intimately with a professional. Doctors are pretty smart. They pick up on things. So it's always been my opinion that that was uncommon, unlikely that he went to this appointment that was prearranged. I mean, of course it's possible. Anything's possible. That first billion is the hardest. Yes, I agree. It's been that way for me. Annie Ruler, I'm sure for you too, right? All of us, we're all in that same boat. Dang it. Okay, server was off somewhere like 8 hours. Okay, Annie, thank you. So I think it was around 11 to 6:30. So that would be 7.5 hours. That's a long time. And again, is it common for them to turn the server off, to shut the server down, just like it was routine for them to do the HVAC maintenance twice a year and to kick everybody out of the house while they're doing it? That is so unusual. Squirrels, justice for Fabian. Oh, I know. I mean, those of us that have kids, especially, which I know you do, I know I do, I know Annie Ruler does. She had twins. But even for those of us who don't have kids, it's just unthinkable. I mean, and what an exciting time for the grandparents and for the friends and family that loved Matthew and Savannah, and we're so excited about this little baby being born. And let me just say, Savannah is like as cute as a bug's ear, is she not? And I'm sure that little baby would have been cuter than a bug's ear and probably very tall too, looking at how tall Matthew is. He looks like he's easily 6'3" or more. Um, I don't know how tall she is, but he's way over a foot taller than her. So even if she's 5 feet tall, he's probably 6'3", 6'4". Um, so anyway, let's continue on with all of your amazing comments here. Remember in California a few months ago, tossed baby over wall, still shot. I don't remember that case, Annie Ruler. I don't pay attention to every case because the ones that I get focused on, I get so hyper focused on. I literally try not to get distracted by other cases. So I have no idea what case that is that you're referring to, but thank you for bringing it into the conversation. I appreciate that. So Jackie Bushable says Dillon, Montana. Okay, so I think you meant Dillon, Dyllan, or are you talking about a different Dillon? I don't know that Dillon Mortensen has ties to Montana, but that wouldn't surprise me. But I still am so suspicious of both of those roommates. Also extremely suspicious of Dylan's boyfriend. I always forget his name. Quinn Kelly, right? Annie Ruler says, yes, was in live, have asked for a year where Etsy lived. Have asked for a year where Etsy lived. Oh, yeah, because it's been, I've heard people talking about it off and on for about a year, but I don't think I plugged it into my videos, and I apologize for that because like it's just so much information. It's so hard to take it all in. That's the whole thing with the gaslighting, is just to bombard you. The other thing that gaslighters do, you guys, and this I wanted to be sure to have a conversation with you about. I've said it before, I will say it again and again and again and again. What gaslighters do is they accuse you of doing exactly what they're doing. Like, how many cheaters in relationships have done that, right? So my thought is applying that to Idaho 4, and that the gaslighters, being law enforcement and the university, they're not accusing us, of course, at least not yet that we know of, but that they're accusing of BK doing exactly what they did. And what if he was running some biological material from that house? What if he ran some biological material from that house and, like I said, didn't even find out until the next day that this crazy thing happened there? The other thing I want to say, and this we've all known since Jump, the minute I found out about the 3:01 a.m. Uh, plainclothes police, clad in black, men in black, um, halting the 3 young men coming across Banfield, you guys. It was not until this morning that it connected in my brain, some neurons fired or something, and I thought, "Holy crap, what if those men in black were running interference, worried that those 3 dudes were going over to the 1122 residence, and they were there to make sure that nobody went there?" And then we all know about the 4 people running in the background of that same body cam footage. Like I said, you cannot keep up with these flippin' gaslighters. Unreal, is it not? I mean, if this is what I suspect it is, this is like the master of all evil heists or psyops or whatever the F you want to call it. And if people that dangerous are in positions of power in Moscow, another thing I don't want to forget to mention to you guys, because I don't know that I've ever mentioned it in my lives. Maybe I have. I mentioned it in Zav's live the night before last. I've looked up a lot of properties in Moscow. This was a long time ago, like a year ago. And it seemed to me that half the town was owned by people from Russia and people in Russia. And I found that alarming. And it made me wonder if there's like this movement to take over Moscow, Idaho. I don't know. I do not know. But we all know things are done very different in that the Soviet Union, my goodness. Employee of Etsy bought Elantra off Etsy. Guy was driving that, was in Moscow for axe throwing weekend. Thank you, Annie Ruler. I need to look into that some more. So, what are the chances of that guy getting in a car crash? And what bad luck was that? And then they were able to successfully whitewash it, right? Because everyone was like on it, like immediately, like, oh my goodness, could that be the car? And then, yes, it was confirmed that that was the car. And then the authorities successfully whitewashed the entire thing. So not only did the guy crash his car, he was asleep in his car, which, it could be a medical situation that he was knocked out from the accident, or it could be that he was on substances that made him crash and made him fall asleep, right? Um, let's see. True Crime Time was in chat somewhere yesterday asking normal questions, did not feel LE vibe. Well, I still think that they are what I thought they were. Um, and I think that they've kind of wisened up to try to act normal. Because yeah, normally they have way too much information and they're too articulate with like the whole professional lingo. I can be a little bit articulate in that professional lingo with like law enforcement and first responders simply because of family members that I have that are in those professions. But when you're in a profession, like for me, mental health, it's very easy to articulate all of these, what I call psychobabble words. And if you're not in the profession, it's hard to keep up with that. So I noticed that with some of these channels, that unless they're attorneys, they know way too much of the language. They're just way too quick to be able to spit all of these big 25-cent words out there and go cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. And sure, some people do that. My mother was like that. She was nobody's attorney and nobody's law enforcement. And she was just extremely well read and um, very intellectual. And she had a very large vocabulary, probably the largest I've ever known in my lifetime. But then again, I live under a rock, so I really only knew my mother and my husband and a few other people. Kidding, of course. Anyway, True Crime Time. He's the guy, or that's the channel that started on Christmas Day. Look at the description. It says on all of our descriptions the day that we built our YouTube channel. And then look at their first video, look at their second video. I think the second video is, or maybe it's a community post. I think it's a short video though, with the still shot of the back of the corner club. They weren't the only one that came out with it right off the bat like that, but it was only a few people that did. I think Michelle After Dark was one that did too. There were a handful of people that had it like that day, which was it December 28th? I mean, it was like the 27th, maybe. I think it was the 27th was the day that that photograph got released onto the streets, and then the streets of YouTube. And then the 29th, 30th was when BK was arrested. So it took all the attention off of that still shot being released. Let me talk about that still shot for a minute before I catch up with your chat. It's almost always been my suspicion that somebody very cleverly and skillfully took a photograph of a surveillance camera and then released that onto the streets of YouTube. So I have no idea who might have done that. I have no idea if it was part of the psyops type of thing, or if it was somebody trying to bust a corrupt situation, especially since the man without a face, looks so much like the police chief that it could very well be the police chief. And I disagree with anybody who says that it could be the bar owner, because why would his face be blurred out if he's the freaking bar owner? And he's standing by the back door on a Saturday night talking to a couple of frat boys next to a couple of girls that just happened to get unalived shortly thereafter. I mean, he would be legitimately there as the bar owner. Why no face? Okay. Let me stay caught up. MCause and Jackie Bushable. Yes, it's logical. I would love to hear your entire theory on the Idaho 4 case. Yeah, Annie Ruler has really good information and really good ideas. And let's see. Hello. Cartel shot baby as teen mom tossed it over the fence. She jumped over, both shot. Oh, Annie, I thought you were saying that the perp spared the baby, that they allowed the person to let the baby escape. Oh, that's just gross. But see, that's where they go the extra mile, like with the humiliation and taking out the bloodline. And again, if you're involved in that business, let's say, if you work for that company, I like to call it the company, it doesn't matter if you're like a low level runner or a high level lord. In my opinion, it's all the same. If you're in that business, you're in that business. And things are done a certain way. And yeah, usually it's extremely grotesque, and very signature, like what happened with Idaho 4, right? What happened with Idaho 4 is consistent with that type of crap. Oh, I need to go lay down, you guys. My head is just spinning. We're only under an hour, but I'm going to try just to like breathe and keep up with you guys and look at my notes and see how long I can go before I pass out from all the freaking crazy. I'm like squeezing my pen and my notebook so hard. I got to show you, like, I don't know if you can even see because of the white light. See the creases in my wrist? Ugh. I just realized how I'm like squeezing it. I'm like, hold on, let me chill. Let me get my Zen on. You guys, everybody take a water break, okay? Drink your water. It's so important. It's so hard to keep up with. As much as I preach to you guys all the time, I am challenged on most days to keep up with my water consumption. And then your lips get more chapped and your brain gets fuzzy. It just messes everything up. Let's see. Oh, good morning, Mrs. G. Is Mrs. G here? Divine Justice, aka Mrs. G, the honey badger? Or is there someone else you're calling Mrs. G? Let's see. Referring to what SG wrote on his vacation. Oh, thank you, Jackie Bushable, about it being logical. Yeah. I am just so suspicious of everything about the Idaho 4. I cut the families a lot of slack, especially the parents. They can be as crazy as they want to be. They're dealing with the unthinkable. But those two, those two, you see which finger I'm using in all of that? Those two surviving witness roommates, they can F off, man. And the police for protecting them, and the mainstream media for protecting them, the university, I mean, yeah, if they were just surviving witnesses, then of course they need the protection, but it's not looking like any of their story adds up to anything except suspicious, right? Um, and Nicole Clark, hello. Heartless territory, all about territory. Annie, thank you. Girl, you are so freaking sharp. That is absolutely on the money, and it's so easy to forget the obvious. Remember my favorite movie, Zero Effect? And they teach you the two obs: be observant, be objective, and don't miss the obvious. But that one's so obvious you don't need to say there's three obs. You can just go with two. The obvious. Yes, it's all about territory because that's where the money is. And that, I think, goes with the trafficking of substances, the trafficking of peeps, the trafficking of non substances. Annie says, you were saying there is a tunnel to Moscow from Moscow. And all these people with their up in arms about the tunnels, it's like, it might sound crazy to say that there could be tunnels, but there are tunnels. I mean, there's videotape footage online of people walking in the tunnels under the University of Idaho and people walking right above their heads on the asphalt paths at the University of Idaho. Have you guys seen those videos? But yeah, of course there's tunnels there. And then Drip Drop did an amazing job of looking at the video footage of the destruction, the demolition of the residence, and doing still shots of where some of the entrances to the tunnel may have been. So now that they've destroyed the evidence, they've also buried the evidence. Like, could they keep making themselves look more and more suspicious? They're like freaking dogs with their bones out there burying them, like literally. Ugh. And what about Buddy the dog? See, this is what happens when you're getting gaslit by these kinds of evil freaks. It makes you sound crazy, right? Because then you're like, and then Buddy, and people who remember Buddy, and then you bring up the freaking brain on the dumpster, and people think that you are smoking some substances or having a schizophrenic break, right? Ah, they just fry your brain to the point that you want to give up on the situation. You just want to focus on your life. Your brain is hurting. You're feeling powerless, hopeless to do anything about it. But no, we all have the power that we have to speak our truth and to do something about it, whatever that is, however small it may seem. Oh, goodness. Um, so yeah, the tunnels, that's not crazy, but to think again that possibly a door or something was hidden behind the good vibes sign. I put that into my thumbnail for the video yesterday. The good vibes sign that was in the living room on the plastic greenery. I can't believe that never for over a year did I ever think, was that hiding something? I mean, it probably was, if nothing else, just like an ugly, electrical uh, cabinet or something. But it coincides with what Drip Drop, I think, was saying, thinking that there was an entrance into possibly the tunnel that is in that hill that that house is built on behind the refrigerator or around the refrigerator. That I think that that's like the same area as the good vibes sign where that was located. But it would also explain why the most bizarre construction with that house, if it was built around these types of tunnels and hiding them, it would make sense why the weird construction, right? Okay, I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. Um, no license plate on wrecked Elantra. Right, but there's a VIN number, or did they scratch that out? Um, Jaded Warehouse, hello. Please send thoughts and prayers. My niece's school fell victim to a shooting this morning. Are you freaking kidding me? I am so, so sorry. We are still waiting to hear news on casualties. My niece is safe, but waiting for news. Can you say where this is located, Jaded Warehouse, if you're comfortable stating where it's located? I mean, I don't know if it'll make national news. I would imagine that it would, since it's a school. I mean, I know there's a lot of active shooters that don't make national news, but I would think kids being involved takes it up a notch. Get a clue, a channel he has vocabulary. Yes, Annie Ruler. I've been watching a lot of Get a Clue, and he's either a very brilliant channel or what I was talking about. Either way, it's a good channel, in my opinion. But I'm definitely not so sure that I'm trusting him, especially since he's going up against so many content creators and just trying to take them out. Some of those I respect him for, like the ones that he mentions in his description of his channel. Like, that's freaking hilarious. I took a screenshot of that yesterday and sent it to my sister. But he's also going toe to toe with Sleuthy Goosey, who I've never had any suspicion about her. You know, she seems legit as they come. Did my screen freeze up? It did. Oh no. Is it unfrozen? Holy crap, you guys. Okay, I'm not frozen anymore. It's like freezing and unfreezing. Oh, how frustrating. I was afraid it might do this since it was giving me so much trouble getting on. But again, look at what I was speaking to when it happened. Coincidence? Man, because I'm trying to scroll back in the conversation, um, and it stopped allowing it. That's how I realized it was frozen. So hopefully it stays unfrozen. Um, let's see, where were we? Yes, Jaded Warehouse. And talking about that. I mean, we were just talking about that. Um, I'm so sorry to hear. I'm glad that your niece is okay, it sounds like. So Get a Clue, yeah. I am not so sure. I really like what he has to say, but I'm just not sure if he's like authentically a real channel. If he is, then he's excellent. If he's something else, then he's a scoundrel, right? In my opinion, everything I say is simply my opinion. Anyway. Love you, Jez. Haven't been on much lately. You haven't been on much lately? I've been trying to be live every day. Like, I really like to be in a rhythm. That's what helps me be my sharpest. So, I don't like to miss a day. I usually will miss the weekend days because things are just too chaotic. But during the week, Monday through Friday, I try really hard not to miss you guys. So, and I do miss you so much, whether it's a weekend day or not, when I don't have a live with you guys, I miss you like madness, complete madness. So sorry to hear that. Rachel Smith, hello. Nicole Clark, can anyone please explain to me what it means when the charges of an inmate in prison are aggregated? I would think that that might mean like breaking them up, because a lot of times, and I'm not sure if someone else knows, but a lot of times when someone's arrested, they do what they call stacking the charges. And that's like putting like a kidnapping on top of an essay, on top of an unaliving, on top of a robbery, on top of breaking and entering, on top of battery. When they stack the charges, they can really throw the book at you. So I would think that aggregating would be breaking them up after somebody's already had the book thrown at them, and then trying to handle each one separately. That's just a guess. Um, Prayers to Jaded. Annie Ruler says, Mo cause. I wish we could get answers because my theory has many a participant feels like they escalate status in Greek world when they eradicate an issue and do not get charges. Frustrating. Yeah, I mean, if this is what's going on at the university, and if you got the prosecuting attorney, you've got the defense attorney, you've got the judge, you've got all of these people are graduates of that same freaking school. And that multi-billionaire would basically have everyone by the balls, excuse my language, but seriously, seriously. And that mini series, The Thing About Pam, does a very excellent job of detailing exactly how it is that these small towns can get away with such corruption when there's that type of incestuous relationships. Like, just look at Chief Small Fry and his wife and all of the responsibilities and duties and power that they have. I mean, it's too much. His wife is the clerk of courts, meaning that when somebody does a public records request, it goes to her. She's the one who gathers it, or she, um, you know, delegates somebody to gather it, and then she's going to review it, and then her husband's going to review it because he's the police chief. And generally speaking, police departments don't send out any public records requests before they go across the desk of the sheriff or the police chief. Like, that's just kind of an unspoken rule, or maybe even a spoken rule. I don't know. One of those. It's a rule. So, anyway, like, they have utter authority and control over what information people see and don't see. Um, I love you, Jazz. Haven't been on much lately. I need to highlight that because I need your love, man. It's been rough. All these freaking things, all these cases, all these glitches, all this crapola. Um, can anyone please explain to me? Okay, I already read that. Sorry. Where are we at? Um, Thanks, you guys. She is 13, hoping this doesn't scar her and her friends for life, although it probably will. Well, of course it will. Of course it will. I hope that nobody got injured or worse. And was it a fellow student or? Ugh. Annie, I understand. I agree with you. I think it is as many people that is involved. Yeah, I think that it's very likely the university, the Greek system, the law enforcement, and I fully expect the stream to stop right about now. Mark Molina says prayers, Jaded. Yes, let's all do some crowdsourcing prayers for sure. I think the tunnels are pretty significant in my opinion. Well, and it's just so weird to me that anybody would want to argue about the tunnels. I mean, why? Why would you want to argue that there's tunnels? I mean, even if there wasn't tunnels, like, what's it to you? I mean, but there are tunnels. We've seen the videos, right, of the freaking tunnels there at the University of Idaho. And this house is right next to campus. It's right next to. It's all students that live there. I'd be surprised if there's anyone, even in the Queen Street apartments, Queen Road apartments, that isn't a student or a student teacher or something, some affiliation with the university. Everybody in the entire town has an affiliation with the university, almost everybody. Yeah. Perry, Iowa. It's already national. Oh man, I'll look it up as soon as we wrap up here. Thank you for sharing. Oh, that's so sad. I hope no lives were lost. Not as good as your channel. Oh, Mark, are you so sweet? Are you talking about the Get a Clue? Because I think he rocks. Like I said, if he's an authentic channel, he rocketh. And I also really appreciate him calling out other content creators, because I used to really have a rule to only speak positive about other content creators. But the more I do this, the more I feel like it is incumbent upon all of us, whether we're content creators or not, to call out bogus crap from content creators, even if the content creators are not bogus, but a drop that they do is, just to call it out. Because if we don't clean up the streets of YouTube, it's all in the freaking gutter. And then the whole thing is a joke. And as it is right now, true crime on YouTube has a lot of power and a lot of clout, to borrow Jägermeistro's word. Okay, that's really nice of you to say, Mark. I I think I have a great channel, but you look at my numbers and I've been stagnant for a year, but I think that's the shadow banning. Um, you aren't frozen. We see you. Yay, I'm so glad. So glad it unfroze. Crazy coincidences, Mark Molina says. Sorry, I meant I haven't been on much. Not you. You're always doing lives, but I have been missing them. I know. I hardly ever do a not live, an unalive, I like to call them. And yeah, if you edit one of your lives, it becomes an unalive. And I don't even do that. When I make silly mistakes, I just try to put it in the description or the comments, or talk about it in the next day or two. Clean up any errors. And yeah, it's funny when I'm watching a video like the one yesterday and I didn't catch myself saying 118 and 126 and 122. I would normally catch myself saying that, right? And then I'm listening to it and I'm like, wait a second, I have to rewind it. I'm like, is that really what I said? Of course I meant 1118, 1126, 1122. And then the whole thing with August of 2023. Of course I meant August of 2022. And you guys might not catch it either, because if you did, you might say something in the chat like, hey, Justice, you just made that mistake. You can totally call me out on any mistake anytime. I appreciate it. And if I think I'm right and you're wrong, then we can argue, and that's okay. Don't take it personally. I'll try not to. I got into a little argument with somebody in Zav Girls Live the night before last, and I immediately felt so bad. I'm like, I'm not trying to fight with anybody, but I just get so passionate because, of course, it was about Kylie Rodney. And I was just like, damn, I realized while having this argument that it's like the common consensus is to think that AWP went down because of Jared and his lawsuit. And I think that that was simply the bomb that was dropped to take Jared down, but that AWP was getting blasted because they knew the information about Kylie that those in power did not want anyone to know. So therefore they had to sabotage their integrity, and they did an amazing job, and I am still pissed about that. So anyway, I got into a beef with somebody, and then immediately I was like, oh, I don't think I apologized, but I do apologize. I was like, oh, I'm just, very passionate about that case. And yeah, yeah. But I was glad that Kylie Rodney came up on Zav Girl. And I'm very glad that Harsh has mentioned Kylie Rodney a few times the last few weeks. I'm so grateful for every single content creator and viewer that keeps that case alive. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that there would be so many people doing such hard work this many months later. And that specifically was why I started my channel, because I was like, man, somebody's got to get in there and fight for this girl. And I'm so glad I'm not alone. And other people have definitely been way out in the front lines, more so than me. And I'm just ever so grateful. Okay. Scary for the kids, a very small town. It was a student. He is deceased and the scene is cleared, but many people wounded, at least 2. Oh, jaded. Oh my goodness. And how old is this kid? Oh man. Unbelievable. The community that we moved out of in north of Seattle, we lived in Marysville. and they had a shooting before we moved to that community. So when we bought our house, which was like around Christmas of like 2003, yeah, um, they had the shooting, I think, in the previous year, or because it wasn't while we lived there, but they were still dealing with the aftermath. So the kids had to go to school. It must have happened in the fall, because then the kids had to go to school basically all summer. They hardly had a summer because they closed the school to, oh, I'll have to review it. Marysville, Washington, 2003, fall of 2003. And our oldest child was only 1 year old at the time. So all of our neighbors had kids that age, but we were so caught up in being new parents and first time homeowners and, just being working stiffs that a lot of it just kind of went over our heads until it was summer and the kids were never out of school. Then it really set in like, oh my goodness, why are they still in school? And then they had a couple of days off and then the next school year started. So yeah, that is so freaking sad, Jaded. In that town, I'm gonna check out how small your town is. Not cleaning here. Nicole Clark, thank you for explaining aggregated charges. Did you Google it? Was I accurate? Because that was just a shot in the dark, but I know the word aggregate from gardening. So that was what I thought of. I thought aggregates are like sand and gravel. And so I thought pieces, like, I don't know. I'd have to Google it. But that was how I put it all together. And I know about the stacking of the charges because of family members that are in the business of law enforcement. Because when I first heard that phrase, I had heard it a lot before I ever knew what it meant, stacking the charges. I was just like, what is that anyway? What does that mean? What does that do? So that's like with the criminal defendant, by putting burglary on there, they're stacking the charges. I mean, and that's pretty much what law enforcement does when they arrest somebody, is they stack the charges. But some of that can be unjust, in my opinion. So that's where you need to aggregate those charges, probably. When I read that someone I know has aggregated charges, I was like, WTF does different types of rocks have to do with the burglary? I love it. So you're into gardening too? Landscape architecture. Landscaping is awesome. Mark, you can come finish cleaning my house if you want. You wouldn't want the man clean I do. You need real clean. LOL. That's funny. But living alone, you probably do a great job. And the nice thing about living alone is when you clean, it stays clean. Like with little kids, or even with big kids, you clean and you can't tell. You can spend 8 hours and you can't freaking tell. It's ridiculous, but you have to do it, right? Or it just gets disgusting and chaotic. Let's see. Everyone else stinks compared to us. I thought it said thanks. That's hilarious. Mark, you're so cute. So yeah, Shan did a live last night and I was honored to be on her panel, like I always am when she allows me on. And I feel like I'm very compelled to go on whenever she has a panel, even if I'm tired and feel like I probably shouldn't. It's hard for me not to. Um, and I loved her show last night because it was just so casual. Like all of us were just totally chill. And a lot of times during those lives, I think that they're probably kind of funny to be watching. But then if I go back and review, which I almost always do, I'm like, man, that's really good. That's informative. So I haven't had a chance to review it yet, but I will. Prayers for Perry, Iowa. Absolutely. Absolutely. Haven't heard much about Zav lately since the controversy. Yeah, I know. That's why I was so honored to be on her panel the night before last, because I thought, she's paid her dues. She made her errors. She has done so much right. Like, I think people need to like get over it. And if they're going to hold her accountable for that, still, you need to hold the other channels that did it, that didn't get all the bad publicity. I mean, she was really scapegoated. I'm not going to mention the other channels that did the exact same thing. I'm just not going to mention them, but know that there's other channels with sparkly, squeaky, clean reputations who did the exact same thing with that exact same case, who were not spoken about on the news, and they were not abused on the streets of YouTube. It just like went under everybody's radar by choice. That's bogus. Plus, I think if you're going to hold her feet to the fire for poor judgment, I think you need to hold everybody's feet to the fire that got themselves involved with that from a subscriber's perspective. That's my feeling about it. I mean, it was a bad decision, and she apologized poorly at first, in my opinion, and I think that's kind of the general consensus. But since then, I do think she's really done a lot of self-reflecting, and I'm impressed with her for sticking it out, because that's hard to come back from something like that. And her last few lives have like 20,000 views, and I'm very happy for her about that, because she's just kind of getting back into her thing, which is a lot like Shanda with Squirrels on Fire. Like, it's all about building a community and having a safe place to have that conversation. And on that, I'm going to say the thing I really think is funny about the Get a Clue channel is in the description where he says, "This is not a safe place for anybody." I think that's hilarious. I hope he's authentic. I hope he's genuine and for real and legit and not just some kind of poser. Um, so let's see. Let's get caught up. We are getting close to an hour and a half, so maybe we'll start to think about winding down. Um, I put a lot of work into Kylie Rodney, but it seems that my findings have been usurped by other creators. Oh, I'm so sorry, Tumult. I know I've definitely experienced that with most of the cases that I've covered. So a year ago, more than a year ago, I compared Kylie Rodney's case to Meredith Kircher. Some people call that the Amanda Knox case. No, it's the Meredith Kircher case. So there are similarities there. And then later, I did something similar with Meredith Kircher and the Idaho 4. And yeah, I've seen other people take my ideas and not kick me credit, and it's gotten really old, because I see it happen a lot now. And like with the whole billionaire thing with the freaking president of the school, I'm pretty sure I'm might be the only one that found that and put that on the streets of YouTube, and then everybody's running with it. I just want a few thumbs up. That's all, people. That's all I'm asking for. Just one more sub. I can't get a like to save my life over here. That's what Rich Lux used to say when he had like 500,000 subscribers. I can't get a like to save my life. So I'd be like, oh, poor guy, I'll hit that like button. So anyway, Tumult, I don't know if I even know your channel. What's it called? Please put that in. Prayers for Iowa families and kids. The world needs help. I know. And yes, last night was lovely. Thank you for being there. Oh, Shan, thank you, my dear. And it's always fun to hang with the home fries, right? With the Squirrel Squad. In my world, everyone would be covering missing kids. Yes, Mark, I found a new one today that I want to cover, and I'm not like out there looking for new missing kids, but Madeline Kojokari, North Carolina, Cornelius, North Carolina, over a year ago. Christopher Paul Meter and Diana Kojokari. This little girl was 11. She would be 12 now. She's been missing since last November, and it sounds like she was sold. Madeline Kojokari. I'll spell it again, Cojocari, North Carolina. It really sounds like she was sold. 11 years old. Like the last footage, I think, is her getting off her freaking school bus. It's just disgusting. And yeah, I thought of that too. And I also thought how cool Monsters Under the Bed channel is. I think it was his channel that did a lot of focusing on missing kids, right? There's been a couple of them for sure. And Shan last night, that's what she was doing. And I brought up the case about Kendrick Johnson. If you guys aren't aware of the Kendrick Johnson case, I'm going to put a link to it in the description here. Christina Randall was where I first learned about that case. And I did a video on Kendrick Johnson about a year ago. His parents just refiled more charges. His demise happened at school in 2011 in Georgia. And he was found rolled up in a freaking gym mat the next morning. Unbelievable. The suspect's daddy was FBI. So that's all I need to say. But Kendrick Johnson's family wants people to talk about his case. And thank goodness they're not letting up and they're still filing new charges. Like, good for them. Oh, yes, Mark Molina, you're so nice to care about. I mean, it's hard not to care about this stuff, isn't it? It's disgusting. Yeah, news investigative journalists, where were you? Where were you? And yeah, how come I haven't ever heard of this Madeline Kojokari? Why haven't I never heard of her until this morning? That's crazy. Okay, I just resubbed to Zav. I agree. If 10 to Life and others did get flack, then she should get a look the other way, just like other channels. Right. And I think that it might be due to, you know, her not being heterosexual. I mean, she was an easy target. Low-hanging fruit, I like to say. And then it just becomes like a bullying thing. You know, one person starts it and then everybody gets in on the abuse. I mean, ugh. Anyway, I'm glad she's sticking with what she's built because she's getting close to 100,000 subs, you guys. Zav girl, go, 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 go. And I sent her an email yesterday to apologize for the bad word that I said on her panel. I felt so bad. As soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, arr! Things happen. We all make mistakes, right? That's exactly what I'm talking about. So, Mark, exactly. Well said. Didn't get flack. Yeah. Squirrels on Fire agree about 10 to Life. So true. My place is not safe. We are dangerous. Oh, Mark, you're so cute. You're just trying to be all badass and cool, like badass MF in Pulp Fiction. Who's the guy who plays? Oh, it's like escaping me right now. Where they're looking for the wallets and the pillowcase at the robbery and the diner, and he's like, "Mine's the one that says badass MF on it," and then they pull out a wallet that actually says badass MF on it. Sam. Oh, who's that actor? You guys know who I'm talking about. Please tell me. It's bothering me. Now I do need to Google it because I'm talking in circles. Okay. I'm going to get caught up. But first, I'm going to see who's in Pulp Fiction. And if you haven't seen that movie, I don't recommend it. It's very trigger warning. So, who is that cast? Samuel Jackson. I did get it right. Samuel Jackson, the badass mofo is what it says on his wallet. It's like punched in there like leather with, you know, silly 70s stuff. Anyway, You, the badass MF, Mark. Yes, you are. Hey, everyone. Squirrels on Fire. Tumult would love for you to reach out on anything you'd like to discuss. Kylie, Rodney, anytime. Email me. Yay. Yeah. Do you know Tumult's channel? Does Tumult have a channel, or is it like TikTok or something like that? Because I don't do any other type of social media. I don't even do Facebook. Face wall, I like to call it. I gave you a like. Are you okay now? I feel so much better. Nicole Clark, does anyone else think that Tucker Carlson and Rex Human, the Gilgo Beach killer? Interesting. There's truth to every joke. You have all the laughs, so I think you're kind of joking, but yeah, truth to every joke. No channel. I received threats from many to stop pushing forward on that case. Oh, did you have a channel, or was this like from being in Facebook groups and on YouTube and stuff? Wow, sorry about threats. Must been on something 100%. Absolutely. Mob crew runs down several missing people cases. Yeah, that's the monsters under the bed. Yep. And I think he was live streaming the presser last night, as was Zav Girl. Oh, and another channel that somebody who was on the panel with Zav Girl that I just True Crime Investigations, is that what he calls his channel? I thought it was a good channel. He was an interesting character talking about, oh, he lives in Delphi, Indiana, so he kind of started his channel around Delphi, but he's looking at other cases too. So we were talking about the Savannah Soto case together with a bunch of other people on the panel, on Zab's panel the night before last. I've gotten threats as well, Tumult. You are welcome to email me or come on panel anonymously to speak your mind. We would love to have you. Very cool. Squirrels. Squirrel girl. I've contacted you through email before, Shanda. I sent you an image of Kylie Rodney taken on November 1st, 2022. The response I got is that you reported me to authorities. Interesting. November 1st, 2022. Wow. Well, I would think that she was reporting to authorities that there was a photograph of Kylie on November 1st, 2022, because that's inconsistent with the narrative. And if that is true and accurate, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, don't take anything personally in life, but especially on YouTube, right? Unreal. I remember hearing about Kendrick Johnson's case. Makes my stomach turn. So the kid who is the main suspect, in my opinion, he married the girl that this was about last summer of 2022. Those two got married. So in my opinion, from looking at the case, it sounds like she had a crush on Kendrick and maybe hooked up with him. So that's what spurred this. And now they're married. Like, that's scary. That is absolutely scary because she's not in a safe place. I mean, even if she's a scumbag too, even if she's part of the, cover up, which she probably is at this point, but still she's not with a safe person. So she has no way out. She has no freaking way out. Unbelievable. Um, yeah. Let me highlight that one. Bex. Yeah, it's a really gruesome case. Shan, I forgot you did get those, my old memory. Huge Shan, the wrestling Matt M. These MFs need to med license looked at when appears side for cover up, in my opinion. No, I reported the image, not you. It's not her, though, just so you know. Sorry if you took my response the wrong way. Aw, nice to have the clarity, huh? I'm glad that we can do that here. I'm glad that I'm still going because it's an hour and a half, and I'm just, I'm wanting to look up the case in Iowa. That's so sad. Thanks so much for being here, you guys. Yes, Samuel Jackson, you own it, Mark. you on it. Most of these seem to be so pro-gay, in my opinion, but pay-per-view was sad for any of them. Most of those seem to be so pro-gay, in my opinion, but pay-per-view was sad for any of them. I'm a little confused by the overall comment, Annie Ruler. I don't know if there's typos in there or if I'm just not able to decipher it, because me brain melting. And Sam Elliott, he's a great actor. I don't know. Was he in Pulp Fiction? I'll have to look that up. I mean, I had it pulled up on my phone, but let's see. No, I don't think Bruce Willis is in it. I don't remember Sam Elliott being in it either. I can tell you the cast right here if it comes up again. We got Quentin Tarantino, John Travolta, Sam Jackson, Uma Thurman. Oh, Bruce Willis is in it. Sorry, my bad. Tim Roth, Christopher Walken, Harvey Keitel, Vin Rames. He plays Marcellus. You guys remember Marcellus? And then Eric Stoltz. He was awesome. He was freaking awesome. Amanda Plummer. She's also a great actress. Oh my goodness. She's fabulous. She was in So I Married an Axe Murderer. If you guys know that funny movie with Nancy Travis and Michael Myers. And then Maria de Medeiros. And she plays a character named Fabian. Anyway, yeah, Bruce Willis is in it, but not the other one. Sam Elliott. Maybe you were thinking of Quentin Tarantino, because yeah, that was like his big thing. Let's see. Tried to rewatch Pulp Fiction, just too hard with rugs and needles. Yeah, I was really disappointed when I saw it the first time, because my husband and I, we'd heard so many great things about it. And then like fools, we went to watch it on Christmas Day because we saw in the newspaper they had like Santa hats on and stuff. And we were like, oh, okay, Pulp Fiction on Christmas. Cool. We watched it. We're just like, oh man, no thank you. On Christmas, really? Yeah, like the hats, the Christmas hats in the newspaper, like that was just ridiculous, but we fell for it. Anna Uncovered is a channel that I just heard of, and I see that she did a Kylie Rodney video on her channel with other girls that are missing or unalived. Very cool. I'll check that one out. Yeah. Anna Uncovered. Try to get caught up and then glance over my notes before we sign off. Let's see. Wonder if the email was hijacked and intercepted. So yeah, we got that all cleared up. Annie, that's a good point. Like marrying a cheater, they cheat often. Now cheating slayer, you have a cheating slayer. Oh yeah, you're talking about the Kendrick Johnson case. Unreal. So unreal. And the cover up and all of the people who lost their jobs because they bowed down to this FBI agent. He was pretty high up there in the FBI too, and he has lost his position. But more people that are involved, the harder it is to do the cleanup. They even moved the case from Georgia to Ohio and then back to Georgia. Like that was weird. When they moved it to Ohio, I was like, what? Thanks, Michael, for the heads up on that Kylie vid. Sam Elliott, great voice. Yeah, he's a great actor too, isn't he? Getting off for now. Got to check back into these news updates. Yes, have a great day for everyone. Thanks for another good life. You are welcome, Jaded. Thanks for coming in and thanks for saying goodbye. Live, not life. Yes. Bye, Jaded. Enjoy your day. Great life to all. I love that. I still have access to the image as I've changed the metadata so it cannot be pinpointed and deleted. Well, good. Awesome. That's wild. I'd be very curious. If you want to email it to me, I won't do anything with it since I know Shan's already turned it into the authorities, and you're saying that you do think it's her. I'd love it if you emailed it to me, justiceatooz@gmail.com. And the email address is in the description of the channel. She was in the last season of Picard Star Trek. Oh, that actress. Yeah, we'd love Captain Picard. He was really good in what was that? LA Story, that Steve Martin movie. He's like, you think you can order the duck? You can't afford the duck. You guys know what I'm talking about. Squirrels on Fire. Yes, Anna Uncovered does a great video on Kylie Rodney and Seth Jackson. I don't know who that is. Sam Elliott, Doubt in Pulp Fiction, was thinking about famous Sams. Okay, cool. Thanks, Annie, for the clarification. Yeah, Samuel Jackson, he was all the rage back then. Tom Hanks went to Epstein Island, and Joe Rogan said a gross story of him. Can't watch Forrest Gump now. I could never watch that movie. Like, I used to like Tom Hanks, but he just got too freaking big for his britches. And then he did do a good job in Castaway. I will give him that. But yeah, cray cray. Here's the link to said video, Miss Jazz. Very cool. Thank you, dear. Mark Molina, Tom Hanks' son, is furious, supposedly telling about his dad helping Oprah eradicating Maui, Hawaii. Oh, Annie Ruler. Whoa. Yeah, we need to keep talking about Maui too. I need to put my t-shirt back on. And Shan, maybe you want to do some Maui t-shirts with the Maui massacre. If Tracy from Brush Junkie doesn't mind you using her phrase, because I think she kind of coined that phrase. But I don't know if she probably doesn't have it copywritten, but maybe, you never know. Just a courtesy thing. I wouldn't want to suggest it without saying that. I posted said image on a Facebook group where many were indeed in agreement that it was in fact her. Oh, I'm so curious. Really? Wow. Annie Ruler. Yeah. Have you been following the amazing research that Misty from Army for Jesus has uncovered? No. And how they have inserted people into her real life? No, but I don't trust that channel at all. Not at all. There's a lot going on there. I don't think that her channel is that important that they'd be inserting people into her real life. Like, that could be true, but it could also be that she's hyping herself up, or it could be mental illness. I don't say that with any kind of insults, because we all have our mental health issues. Okay, so BK case can be moved to another state. Annie Ruler. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That was insane when the Kendrick Johnson case came to Ohio, of all places. I have to disagree on it being her. Facial doesn't match, especially in bone structure, but some might eat up on it. I can agree to disagree. I also don't think she was trafficked nor alive after August 21st. I would love it if she was still alive, even if she's been living a crappy existence. It would be amazing if she was still in existence and could come out of it. Tracy can focus on Maui shirts. Okay, squirrels, you got a lot going on, don't you? Yeah, don't you love it when other people suggest ideas for you to do more work? It's like, thanks, trying to keep up with my own ideas. Go ahead, be my guest. You got to be careful when you're so close, like Army for Jesus. Sarcasm. CB. Oh man. Yeah, like when I'm having technical difficulties, I don't like to assume that I'm getting hacked. I mean, I've burned through 4 laptops, you guys, in a year. I don't like to think that that's because Megan's having her friend punch a code into my chat. I don't know. It could just be bad luck. When it happened to my phone and my laptop simultaneously around Memorial Day, at the, Apple store, they said that I just had, like, the worst lemon of a phone they'd ever seen. I explained to them what my suspicion was, and they were like, "Nope, just a bad phone, worst we've ever seen." I was like, "Okay, yeah, whatever." Wackaloony and Mark says, "I want people inserted into my real life. I need company." Mark, I love your comments. You're like, "Trolls, please subscribe to my channel." That's hilarious. Total wackadoodle. No one is after her, but she ought to get that psychosis checked out. Well, and maybe she's just making it up, and it's that type of a psychosis that she doesn't actually think that. She's just saying it to try to make other people think that there's people out there thinking she's important. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even believe she's in Ohio. She says she's in Ohio. I get the feeling she's over there in Truckee. What do you think? Um, Agreed, CB. Just because all of the great content creators are in Ohio and Pennsylvania and Oklahoma, right? Oh, and Texas. I want to see that picture. CB, get over here, Mark, and clean my house. I'm obviously not doing a good job. Still no Nick G proof. Uh-huh. And still no fire cam proof. Like, mainstream media type of proof. I just try to give people the benefit of the doubt, I guess. Well, yeah, of course. Of course. But yeah, on YouTube you can't really. I mean, you can, but you'll get burned again and again. Like, be skeptical of everybody, including me and anybody who says that, right? CB, rain check. Care is not cross country safe. Jet is broken too. Car is not cross country safe. Rain check. Gotcha, Mark. I'm understanding what you're putting out there. Rain check. Car is not cross country safe, and jet is broken too. Squirrel. She's the only one seeking justice for Kylie, but hardly ever makes it about Kylie or have to hurry up and wait for some BS ask conjured story. Well, and she was putting that $100,000 reward out for any photograph from the party. I mean, yeah, that was bogus. That was totally bogus. But it was somebody else who contacted her with all of that offer. Uh-huh, sure. And they didn't contact anybody else, just her. Yep. Right. Got it. Any ruler says, I have phone burn up sometimes when commenting about some Idaho 4 topics. Yeah, I believe it. I definitely believe it. But yeah, when the phone and the new laptop from Costco blowed up at the same time, like they both just went black, you guys. They both just went dark. Like they just were not frozen. They were just dead, like their contents had been taken out. And so Costco took the computer back because I'd only had it for a few months. And even though it was under warranty, they're just like, yeah, something's wrong. Just let us give you your money back. And then I took that money over to Best Buy and bought that gaming laptop that then had trouble right away. I took it in. They said, oh, well, it's going to take at least 2 weeks for the Geek Squad to fix it. I was like, screw you guys. I can't live without my computer for that long. And then I held on to it until it got worse. And then I took it in and then I never saw it again. And now I have this laptop. End of story. So that's 3 that I mentioned. So there was one before the Costco one. So that's 4. So yeah, just 4. That's all. Just 4 in a year. Come on. We know for sure that Shan is a park ranger, but Megan doesn't have 20 kids. No, I think she's got 40 kids. And yeah, Shan was going to apply for that park ranger position in Placer County, right? Jazz, can you share the possible KR pick? If it's sent to me, I will, if it's okay with the person sending it, maybe I could put it on a community post or just send it to you, Annie Ruler. Laugh my arse off. CB Ranger Squirrel. Yes. Mark Molina, my jet is broken too. Bummer. All my proof is behind my $1 million paywall. Peeps. That's a good one. I love it. Okay, so let me just quickly run over my notes and then I'll check with you guys again before we sign off. We're getting close to my 2-hour brain limit, right? You'll see the screws start popping out of my ears. So yeah, let me just read it all out loud to you so you know how my brain thinks, because I did cover most of this. So I said, the arrest of a father and son for unaliving and abuse of a corpse. What if uh, the San Antonio PD was just pressured to make an arrest and didn't care if it was accurate and true? Like Pam Hupp, more like Idaho 4, then I realize the DA is currently under investigation for prosecutorial misconduct. That's a hard word to say. So, yeah, anybody who can say that word well, I would suspect that they're lawyers. Prosecutorial, like it stumbles out of my mouth. Anyway, maybe just me. Pam Hupp is in prison for unaliving the young man she randomly selected for her delusional plot to distract from her other homicides. Stereocolloidal mastoid. Oh, that's the area where the carotid artery is. I'm so glad I read that out loud to you because I'm like, what the heck? Sternocleidomastoid mastoid is the muscle where the carotid artery is. So if you can damage that, that's bad. And she took a pen to her neck. That's why in a lot of her mugshots, she's got bandages on her neck. That girl, cray cray. Pam Hupp damaged in the bathroom with a pen while in police custody. So CP, the names of the perps, I don't like to say, but I will just for informational purposes only. Christopher Preciado, 19, and Ramon Preciado, 53. They were unalived before midnight on 12/21, found 12/26, and Ethan, which is Savannah Soto's brother, was unalived allegedly by Victor Nathaniel Ruas. I think it's Riuas. It's a hard one to say. It reminds me of that Steve Martin movie, LA Story, where he says, Ruach, are you okay? Ruach. This is Rivas, Rivas, I think. Sometimes I can't read my own writing. So Victor Rivas, I think. And then Rachel Corey, I wrote down her name because she's the person that was run over by a bulldozer when she was protesting I think it was a Palestinian's home getting bulldozed on the Gaza Strip 20 years ago. And there's a documentary made about it that I'm going to look up. So Madeline Kojakari, North Carolina, Cornelius, over a year ago, Christopher Palmeter and Diana Kojakari. And then what do I got here? Flip the script. Maybe Koberger was a whistleblower. See, I'm glad I read this because I hadn't used that term. Maybe he was a whistleblower. Maybe he was going to quit his job. And so they were like, well, you can't quit because you're fired, plus you're in jail because we're going to pin it all on you, dude. So maybe the criminal defendant was some type of whistleblower. And I wrote down what I always say. It doesn't matter if you quit or get fired. And I wrote, the gaslighters always turn the tables, accusations of exactly what they are doing. And again, even Pam Hupp did that. She accused people of doing what she did, right? What if he was picking up biological material as instructed for a job and then he was like, F no, a lot of properties in Moscow, Idaho owned by Russians. That's all I got. That's all she wrote. So thanks so much for being here, you guys. I am going to, I love that. I did not highlight. All my proof is behind my $1 million paywall, peeps. Ha ha ha. Well, this is how you make your first billion, right? I want to see picture 2 just cause, Mark, I can bypass that paywall. You shared the hack. And by the way, thanks for sharing that. I use it often. Squirrels says, CB, I can send it to you. You'll see what I mean real quick. Oh, send it to me, Shan, please. I'll look at my email right after I wrap up here and look up the Iowa shooting. So sad. Bex, oh crap. And I used my dog name as all my passwords. Too funny. Yeah, this is why you never tell anybody like your birth date or your middle initial. Any ruler community post would be perfect. Well, and maybe Shan can do a community post, or Jazz can look at it and decide if she wants to post it or not. Tumult can send it to Jazz. Yeah, I'd like to have Tumult's consent before putting it in a post. And then LOL Mark, LOL Bex. Wouldn't Truckee be a great place for a true crime convention? True crime con, crime con. Yeah, I'd never heard of that until this last year. Kylie was a whistleblower of something at the lodge, or Sammy or Lindsay, and perhaps some of these Idaho 4 were whistleblowers too, you guys. This is why they have whistleblower laws, but the laws ain't got no teeth. So, I mean, at least they're trying. At least they're trying to do something. Definitely Mark in summer. Squirrel says, I can't find Tumult's email, so she's going to have to send it out to whoever. So hopefully she will, she or he, she. And protest, LOL. You guys, love and light. I hope you have a great afternoon. Tomorrow's Friday. Please take really good care of yourself. Put yourself first. Take it easy. Be nice, kind, and gentle with yourself. And just be. I like to give all kinds of advice. Just be is the best advice I feel like any of us can give or receive. So on that, I looked a 3-hour stream. I booked a 3-hour stream. Oh, I'm off to expose some screens. I thought you were going to say I'm off to expose some corruption of high powered people. Yoga time stream now. Yeah, I haven't been doing any of it online, but I might. I like to do stuff in person. Love and blessings to all. But this is cool. So, these live streams. Bye all. Have a great day, Jazz, chat, and lurkers. And I love what Divine Justice, aka Mrs. G, says, where she's like, welcome all fans, haters, and lurkers alike. It's hilarious. Have a great day, everyone. And let's continue to pray for the recovery of the people injured in that Iowa shooting and for the entire community. That's crazy. And these kids living with that. I'm frozen. I know that drop from 50s to 20s is lame. Oh, is it doing that in Pennsylvania? It's not too bad here in Ohio, but yeah, it's cold today. Anyway, I will hopefully see you tomorrow. So thanks so much for watching, and love and light. Take care.